Do you know ball?
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 Do you know ball episode 44, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. It's been a little bit. School just started back up the second semester for both me and Zach. So we're going to be pumping out content as often as we can, as consistently as we can. So thank you guys for sticking with us. TikTok is back up and running. So you'll see the regularly scheduled programs coming up. Zach, you want to add anything before we kind of jump into this topic? We're going to try and keep it somewhat short today.
Nothing much. Just CapCut's back too, so
That's right.
quality
Yeah.
of our videos are back. Past I don't know. I think there was only like two videos we edited
There's like
with a
two.
different platform. Sorry about that. Got to get the content out while CapCut was down. CapCut's back, but nevertheless, let's just hop straight into our first topic.
All right, you
So,
ready? Should I do this or you want to do it?
I'll do this one. I'll do
Go
this
for it,
one.
man.
You get the
I'll jump
next
in.
one. So, obviously, big news for the Dodgers. We haven't really touched on this because by the
Hmm.
time we got through our last string of videos from our last pod, Dodgers went out and signed pretty much everybody good left. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even know what to say anymore. So, obviously, the Dodgers went out and they signed Roki Sasaki, which I think everybody knew was going to happen. I think we said it on the last pod. We said it in previous
Yeah.
pods.
Mhm.
Everybody knew that Roki Sasaki was going to go to the Dodgers. I believe he's on a $6.5 million minor league deal,
Mhm.
which is crazy. Again, eventually he's going to get his money, but it's crazy to
Yeah.
have him on a roster so well constructed as the Dodgers. So the Dodgers got Sasaki.
Mhm.
Dodgers went out, then got the best reliever on the market, which is Tanner Scott. Dude was incredible last year. And he's going to be good for future years. I believe it was a 4 year deal.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it was like 4 years, 72 million, something
four
like
years,
that.
yeah. So a lot of people were in on Tanner Scott, including the next team we're going to talk about. But besides that, obviously Tanner Scott went to where he was given the most money and the most years, which is the Dodgers. They signed him. They then went out and signed their last free agent, I hope for before the season,
I don't know,
which
man.
is Kirby Yates. Kirby Yates was probably in some people's minds maybe a little bit forgotten, but this is a guy that had a terrific 2024 season. I mean, like incredible stats, great numbers. Matt, if you want to pull them up and just read them, you can. But
Mhm.
Kirby Yates was probably not in all people's minds, but in my mind, I believe he was the second best reliever left on the market. You could question me that Matt on that if you want to, but
Left on the market?
probably.
I can't think of people off the top of my head.
I
Hold
mean,
on.
there's Carlos Estevez. I forget some of the other names. Kenley Jansen's still on the market. David Robertson.
Here,
Um,
if you want to see his stats, they're right there.
okay, so let's just put this into perspective for you guys because again, some people, you know, they may not be aware of Kirby Yates's game, and with the Dodgers, it seems like it's just going to get
Yeah.
better. It's just going to keep getting elevated. Kirby Yates had a 1.17 ERA last year for the Rangers. Um, and a .83 WHIP with 85 strikeouts. So for those who like look at Kirby Yates as like Kirby Yates is just he's not nothing anymore.
Mhm.
He's not anything. He had a great 2024 season and nobody really paid attention to him except for the Dodgers. So they added two pretty significant arms to their bullpen and not only mentioning that, they not only added those two arms, they got back Blake Trinan, and also, I mean, not any other addition to the bullpen, but in terms of the bullpen, I we don't have this on the dock, and I don't know if we were going to talk about it, but Michael Kopech is injured for the first like month or so for of the year.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's not like it really matters right now because they just replaced him with two other people, and then when he comes back, the bullpen's just going to be even stronger. So just in general, I'm kind of sick of the Dodgers. Just to let you talk, Matt, for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then I'll just react to what you
Mhm.
say. I'm sick of the Dodgers. This is honestly a load of shit because, like, dude, how do they get every player? And you know what? It's kind of at the point where like you hate what's going on, but then
Hmm.
again, you have to respect it, right? You have look, is any other team willing to spend as much money as the Dodgers have been in the past couple of years? No. Did the Dodgers have a one of the greatest off seasons ever last year when they brought in Shohei, go out, win a World Series, and then be like, nah, we're not done there. We're gonna add more. Yeah, that's what they did. So there's not many teams like the Dodgers that are as aggressive with free agents, and they're using the deferred money to aid them in that suit. But look, not many teams are doing what the Dodgers are doing. So if no team's gonna step up, if the Dodgers feel like they have to step up, they will. And they've gotten every player. They've re-signed the guys they needed to re-sign. They added so much firepower. That rotation is disgusting now. If
Hmm.
as long as they can stay healthy, of course. Um, and on top of all the Dodgers stuff, just one last thing before I'll hand the reins over to you, Matt. The Dodgers still remain interested in Clayton Kershaw, which is crazy. Because you know what? They might go around and be like, screw it. You go pitch in the bullpen for a couple games. Or screw it. If someone's hurt or something, just throw you back in the rotation. So they might say just screw it and sign Clayton Kershaw and then what? Like what the hell? Like it's ridiculous. I'm gonna hand it over to you. It's just I just went on like a little bit of a rant there, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine, man. I'm probably going to rant on my own. Well, first off, right, I was in the car and I got a notification about Kirby Yates and I was genuinely crashing out. And I should not be crashing out over Kirby Yates of all people. But it's just like from a non-Dodger fan perspective, it is frustrating because you see the team that just won the World Series, you see them just getting the top tier talent like every single day and they're just signing guys and I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to snag Alex Bregman. Like that's just like so funny that I think it could happen. And like I'm not even going to count it out whether there's reports or not. But you got Roki Sasaki, who we all pretty much knew it was a done deal. Like it was the worst kept secret. Everything saying he didn't want to go to a everything. You know, him saying that he didn't want to go to a big market, that he wanted to, avoid the media and go to one of those middle of the pack teams. Like it was just all a lie. Let's be real here. He obviously joined the Dodgers not only because they were the best option, but you have Yamamoto, you have Shohei Ohtani. It just makes the most sense. They're just coming off winning a World Series. As I said on the previous pod, it's really hard to say no to that. And Dallas Keuchel, former, Cy Young. Zach, you're aware of Keuchel, right?
Of
Yeah.
course, of course.
Yeah, Dallas Keuchel, they were teammates in Japan, and Keuchel said months ago that it was already a done deal. I guess Sasaki must have been talking about it, and Keuchel reported this like months ago. So that might be something that the MLB is going to look into. I know there's been some reports that some owners are going to be looking into that potentially, maybe call for an investigation. But we all knew it was going to happen anyway. So it is what it is. It's just so annoying because now Sasaki is the number one prospect in baseball. He has earned that title, and whether you want to say he should be or shouldn't be, regardless, he's the number one prospect in baseball. He's going to be such a good ad for the Dodgers for years to come. And then you get Tanner Scott, which seemingly happened out of nowhere. You have him for the next 4 years. He absolutely dominated the Dodgers hitters. So the fact that he's now off a division rival team for them and he's pitching for them is just going to make that bullpen even nastier. And that pitching is just incredible. We already know their rotation now with Sasaki. You got Sasaki, Otani, Glasnow, Yamamoto, and Blake Snell. Absolutely unreal. Undoubtedly the best pitching rotation in all of baseball. And then you add Kirby Yates along with Tanner Scott to add to the bullpen. It's just insane the offseason that they've had. I don't want to say they're ruining baseball because every team, dreams of this type of offseason. And if this was the Yankees, as a Yankee fan, I would be glazing the hell out of Brian Cashman. And I'd be saying, oh, we're incredible. So I can't, I have to hold the same standard for the Dodgers. I can't really hold them accountable and say, that they're ruining baseball as much as I might want to say it. Regardless, it's going to be really annoying. Thankfully, they're in the National League, so that's more of Zach's problem than mine. I'll just have to worry about them in the
Yeah.
World Series. Zach, you got to get through them, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough,
It's gonna
but
be tough because you know what? Every team in the National League seems to just try to match up with the Dodgers. That's
Yeah,
the whole goal with everything is to okay, since me being a Mets fan and all, we signed Juan Soto. Okay, good, but that still doesn't match the Dodgers. Doesn't even come close because our roster, as it's constructed right now, is not built to win a World Series, and that might be shocking for you to hear come out of my mouth. But obviously, just names on the
truth.
roster don't lie. They don't lie. We don't have a first baseman. We have a lot of problems, but that's neither here nor there right now. Um, so to have a front office as aggressive as the Dodgers are is just amazing. It's an amazing time to be a Dodger fan, and it just seems like even though like their roster last year, right? That was really, really good. They did exactly what they needed to do. That's what they did. So they won the World Series, and then now this year they're like, okay, we need to get our key guys back. So what let's look at that first. And that's what they did. And then they added on top of that because they never let's be real, the Dodgers don't need a bat. They never needed a bat going into this offseason. They were just looking solely at pitching and I guess bullpen, but I mean mainly their bullpen was pretty locked down last year with what they had. So adding Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott to whoever and everything they had in that already good bullpen is just insane. And like the three headline guys to me before they got these two, Scott and Yates, was Gratterall, Brusdar Gratterall, Blake Trinan, and I'm for, I'm forgetting one more, but there was well, obviously Michael Kopech. Yeah, there you go. Michael Kopech, Brusdar Gratterall, and Blake Trinan. Those three guys alone are demons in the pen. Demons. You add these two guys on, plus the other role player guys. You got Vesia in there. Look, you got a nice squad. And you know what, Dodgers fans? Be happy. Be happy. Enjoy this. Enjoy this. Because honestly, you might pull a Kansas City Chiefs and win back to back to back rings. And
It,
it's
it
just
could happen, and I hope it doesn't.
it's gonna be crazy. The Dodgers are gonna be the team to beat for years to come. Years to come. But with that being said, Deej, if you want us to lead us into our next
Yeah.
topic. Go ahead.
Yeah, so first off, that's probably one of many Dodger rants that will take place throughout the course of the season. But I'll just say one thing. They just have a winning culture. They treat their players right. They're great at development. So obviously players are willing to take a pay cut and are willing to defer the money to go to a winning organization because they're still going to get their money at the end of the day. It helps the team. Blake Snell, Tanner Scott, I'm sure they're totally fine with it. Teoscar Hernandez as well. They're going to win rings. If they only win the one ring, if they don't win another ring, they should win this upcoming season. If they do not win this upcoming season, that is an entire failure. Like truthfully, with the amount of money that they've spent and the roster construction, they should win. They should win. Any other, especially if a National League team wins. If they're able to take down the Dodgers and win the World Series, mad props. If the Yankees can win it or any other AL team, still mad props. As long as the Dodgers doesn't win, I'm kind of hate watching them right now. But we're gonna say the Dodger talk for during the season probably or until they sign Alex Bregman. It's inevitable at this point, really. Let's talk about Tony Taters, right? Zach, you like tater tots?
I do. I do
You
like
like
them.
tater tots? I love tater tots.
Yeah.
It's a good it's a really good like convenient thing when you need to like warm up some food and it's convenient for the Blue Jays because they've missed every single free agent. And now they got Tony Taters, Anthony Santander for you casuals. So let's just I'm talking about it, because as a Yankee fan, same division, it doesn't really move me as much. It could though. It could though if they make the right pieces. So officially, Anthony Santander is a Blue Jay. 5 years, $90 million roughly. There is some deferred money included in there. It's just a match made in heaven. First of all, as I said, the Blue Jays have just become second to every team in terms of free agents. They've gone after virtually everyone and just have come up short. So they have the money to spend. They've been wanting to get a big free agent for a while, and they finally got a guy, Tony Taters. Tony Taters, coming off the best year of his career. If they can pair that with like an Alonso or a Bregman, which has been rumored, then honestly the Blue Jays are looking like a very nasty team, and they could definitely make a run to the postseason. Could they win the American League East? It's a possibility. I mean, as much as I like to glaze the Yankees, who are at this rate the clear-cut favorites in my eyes to win the American League East. I don't know if you agree with that, Zach. I just
I do.
right?
I
Yeah,
do.
okay. All it takes is for the Yankees to have Goldschmidt regress, right? Turn into, chopped liver Anthony Rizzo. All it takes is for Cody Bellinger to maybe go back to that poo-poo form that he was post injury. That's all it takes, really. Maybe losing Juan Soto is a bigger detriment than fans thought. Maybe the rotation. There's a lot of what ifs, but the Blue Jays can really make some noise, and I like this move for the Blue Jays. It's honestly not a bad contract at all, um, but it really leads me into the Baltimore Orioles because they got a whole new ownership that is willing to spend money, but they've been showing their unwillingness to spend money. You let Corbin Burns walk. Now you let Anthony Santander walk. It's like, what's going on? You have like arguably one of the brightest futures in the entire league. You have young players like Adley, you have Gunnar, you're gonna have Jackson Holiday coming up, you have Colton Cowser. Like you have like this really fun young team, and you're letting a lot of talent just slip out of your hands and you're letting it go. And that can honestly be a big mistake. As a Yankee fan, I'm happy. I don't care. But like from a baseball perspective, you know, they need to spend. And now they're projected to honestly maybe be the fourth worst team in the division if the Blue Jays are better than them. And I can see the Red Sox definitely being better than them. And obviously the Yankees I think will be better than them. I think the Rays will finish last. That's my opinion. So it's really just from the Blue Jays perspective, I like it as like a part one. As a part one, if you can add another big bat. For the Orioles, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? Who knows, man?
Yeah, so just to touch real quick on the Orioles before I hop right into the Blue Jays. The Orioles, I mean, I don't understand what actually is going on because then again, like you said, they let two of their key guys walk. Santander is a guy that, hits bombs. That's all he does. That's why he's Tony Taters. That's really the main thing that he does. He hits bombs. He had like 44 bombs last season. Um, so he's a really good bat to add for the Blue Jays. And then Corbin Burns leaving and going to the Diamondbacks. I don't know. I don't know what else they could do. Now, if it's not certainly not going to be a fix, but one guy that's still out there that I think the Orioles should be on and try to get immediately. I think the Orioles should try to get Jack Flaherty immediately. Immediately. You know, he's got playoff experience. This is a good picture. He's not going to fill the shoes of Corbin Burns, but you need help in the rotation. He's still out there. Rumors have been really quiet on him. I think they should hop on this and really get in touch with Jack Flaherty and maybe try to get a deal done with him. I think that'd be a really good fit for both parties. As for the Blue Jays, now a lot of things have been happening with Alonso and Bregman. Bregman, I'll get into more in the next topic. As for Alonso, I don't really think he's going to the Blue Jays, which is kind of why I see this deal with the Blue Jays and Anthony Santander. It's kind of a nothing, honestly, for them because they're not getting Bregman and they're not getting Alonso. Alonso is up in the air with everything. There's been no rumors really, sort of only with the Angels. Surprisingly, there was a rumor a couple days back where it was like the Angels could offer him a 4-year deal worth $100 million with opt outs. So that could happen. He could just take his money. Um, but then again, there's always the Mets corner. I know the Mets organization as a whole. Even Steve Cohen said at Amazing Day, he said he's not happy where the negotiations are at, and he doesn't like the talks being held between the two of them. As far as Pete Alonso goes, it seems like they're gonna go a different direction unless Alonso just sucks it up and takes a lesser deal. Like I understand that you have Scott Boras as your manager, and Scott Boras will get every penny that is owed to his clients as much as possible. Um, but dude, like at the end of the day, if you really want to be a Met and the Mets really want you to be a Met, then dude, just take a lesser deal. But if not, and you think you're worth more, then go ahead, go off. Because let me tell you
Oh,
something.
oh.
Go off into the wilderness because there is a one singular player, Matt, that is a free agent next year, and it makes a lot of sense for the Mets to get. So look, if if he goes off and we part ways, we just mainly try to develop more of our prospects with Acuna, Mauricio, maybe this is Beatty's last chance, but that's neither here nor there right now too.
You're talking about Donovan Solano, right? The free agent next year for first base.
I'm talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry.
So if he wants to go off, he wants to do what he's got to do, let him go. He wants to go to Toronto. That would actually be that would if Toronto does get Bregman or Alonso, that would they would have a pretty good team heading into 2025. But don't see that as likely because of Bregman's status currently, which I'll get into again later. And then obviously Alonso, I really don't see him signing there. But Blue Jays, at least you got something out of this offseason. You came up short on a bunch of guys. Honestly, it's probably because they don't really you get taxed in Canada. Maybe not a lot of people not a lot of people really want to
Yeah.
go to Canada
Yeah, you don't
and play
want to leave the
baseball.
country, the whole tax, whole
So
it's yeah.
you know what, it is what it is. The Blue Jays, at least they got something, and we'll see where they go from here on out. As far as that goes, we're gonna go to another. I guess if you consider it like breaking news, but like it was just it was a second deal that happened. There was a second deal that happened between the Cubs and the Astros, and that was for closer Ryan Presley. Presley is moving on from the Astros from I believe 7 years he was with the Astros. So he's now moving on from the Astros. He will be a member of the Chicago Cubs. I don't know specifically um the details too much as to what the Cubs gave up to get him because I think it just says pending physical,
It was a single A pitcher,
single
I
A pitcher.
believe. Yeah, it was literally just kind of like a we'll take him off your hands, Houston, because you need to clear the money. It's pretty
Yeah.
much what it was.
Yeah. So Presley goes to Houston. Um, Presley's a really good veteran reliever. He's got really good postseason numbers. He's got like a 2.70 ERA in the postseason. Last year he had an all right year. He had a like 3.49 ERA. So it wasn't terrible, but he battled with injuries, and honestly he really wasn't himself. And I can honestly blame a little bit of that on the fact that he was more in the setup role. He's used to being a closer. The Astros got Josh Hader in that job as of right now.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, that's part of
and
the reason why he agreed to go to the Cubs with his no
yeah,
trade clause because he wanted
yeah,
to close. Yeah.
he wanted to go to the Cubs because the Cubs are presenting him with the opportunity to close again, and who would pass up on that opportunity? So he's embarking on a new chapter. The Astros are embarking on a new chapter with Adam. The Astros freed up the correct amount of money, and they are now about to try and get back Alex Bregman. Which would be kind of crazy because I mean the Astros did a pretty decent job so far, I might say, on the offseason and kind of just like figuring it out after Tucker got traded. If they can land Bregman back, that roster's looking pretty solid right now, and they really haven't given up any pitchers besides Verlander. Verlander's just old, and he obviously last time we talked about him, he signed a 1 year contract with the Giants. So that's neither here nor there. But Ryan Presley is a Cub, and I'm curious to see what you think about it.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's just whatever in my eyes. It seems like the Cubs and the Astros are best friends this offseason. Kyle Tucker, and now you got Ryan Presley. But Ryan Presley was truthfully a huge piece for the Houston Astros when it came to winning those two rings. Whether you want to count 2017 or not with the whole cheating thing, regardless, Presley's stats were just incredible with the Astros in the postseason. I know he's a big fan favorite, and they might not win. they might not win that second ring or just the rings in general without Ryan Presley because he was just such a force. Obviously, he's had his moments. He's been shaky, but I think it's a good opportunity for him in Chicago. As Chicago looks to take over the National League Central Division, it is a possibility. It's going to be between them and the Brewers. The Brewers have some like devil magic. They always do. They're just one of those teams that it doesn't matter who's on the field for them. They're just always good. So we'll see. It'll be a fun race between the two. I think the Cubs are definitely, having an off season, not as fun as the fans wanted, and that's crazy to say because like you got Kyle Tucker, and you just added a pretty solid pitcher to the bullpen. But it's not really the money allocation that they wanted, I guess, from a fan base perspective. But it's all right. It's all right for the Cubs. It's not like a total needle mover, but for the Astros, you clear up money. They're kind of cheap. Maybe you get Alex Bregman back. I saw that there was a report that they'd move Paredes to second and Altuve to left field if they got Alex Bregman, which is crazy. Imagine freaking Jose Altuve out there in left field, like what? He's 5'5", 5'6" out there in the outfield. That's like me out there. That's like me in left field. And for those that have seen me play left field in real life, it's not a great sight, man. Left field's not fun, man. I like center field. But left field's not fun, and I'm curious to see how Altuve will do out there. So there's a lot of dominoes to this Ryan Presley thing. So that's the first domino, and maybe the domino is not touching the other domino. Maybe like whoever built the dominoes didn't do it well, but like this, it could knock over the others. Does that make sense? Picture that in your head,
Yeah,
right? You're at your kitchen
makes sense.
table, you got the dominoes, you push the first one. Maybe it's not close enough, but it could be. So we'll see.
Yeah, we definitely will see. Obviously, I don't know if we've mentioned this, but Ryan Presley is owed $14 million for this next upcoming season. Obviously the Dodgers paid off a little bit of it, but for the most part, they did what they needed to do. They freed up space. They don't need Presley anymore. Presley's 36 years old, kind of aging out. And we'll see how long he could really do the closer job. But nevertheless, it's a good acquisition for the Cubs because they're getting at the bare minimum, if he can't really do the closing job anymore, they got a veteran reliever presence in that bullpen, which he could help out a lot of guys, like just enhance their game and stuff like that. So I definitely don't think it's a bad move to say the least. They gave up nothing for him, and Presley has a history of being a really good player, whether that be in the regular season or in the postseason. He had a somewhat bad year last year. He had but chalk that up to a lot of injuries too, and also he really didn't do too hot in the playoffs, obviously, because the Astros didn't make it past the wild card round.
Mhm.
But you know, they moved on, and he's on to the next chapter of his career. So we'll see what the Astros do next with Bregman, and that's gonna be the end of that really, because if they can land Bregman back, that Astros lineup is gonna be really good, and it's gonna be really funky at the same time. Because like you said, if Altuve's in left field, that's a crazy, crazy
That,
combination
that won't be
of
fun,
fielders
man.
and stuff. Because obviously you can't move Altuve to DH. You got Jordan there. So it's gonna be really weird to see what their lineup looks like on opening day. But then again, we will see. So that being said, Deej, if you want to move on to our Hall of Fame members and that topic, go right ahead.
I would love to. I would love to talk about the Hall of Fame. Let's do this. So, we actually, one of our very first pods that we ever talked about was the Hall of Fame segment. It was with Todd Helton. Sorry, it was with like Todd Helton. It was who was the Hall of Fame when we first did it? Do you remember?
Oh, man, I forget. I think it was Todd Helton, Adrian Beltre, and maybe one more. I think there was one more.
I feel like it was a Philly. Hold
Oh
on.
man,
I'm gonna look it up.
was
I'm
it
gonna look it
Ryan
up.
Howard? No, it wasn't Ryan Howard. Was it Ryan Howard?
No, 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 no. You keep thinking, man. Keep thinking, keep thinking.
Um, I'm not entirely sure.
Bonus points in the comments if you can
Todd
get it.
Helton, Adrian Beltre. I feel like it was another lefty. Or
Oh,
not.
wow. I got it.
You got it?
Yeah,
Can
it's
you give
not
me
a
the
lefty.
team?
You gotta guess. It's a I think if I give you the team, you'll know it. I'll give you the
All right.
position. It's a catcher.
Oh, Pudge.
No.
Was it? No?
Hell no.
Damn. Um, Catcher.
If I give you the team, you'll know it.
Give me the team.
The Twins.
Um, Damn, I know his name, but I don't want to mess it up, so I'm not gonna say it.
Look,
Just say it. Say it again.
I think you're overthinking it.
I
You
know who you're talking about.
no, you
Is it
should.
Joe Mauer?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're afraid of
For
messing
some
up the
reason,
name.
no, for some reason I was thinking Jacob or something like that, but I was like, that's not right. Joe
Okay, no.
Mauer.
All right.
Okay.
Well, anyway, this year's Hall of Fame, we got Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner. Let's talk about it because this there's some. First off, in my eyes, all well deserved, 100%. But were some people snubbed? I'll get into that at the end. But these three specifically, Ichiro Suzuki, first ballot, but only 99.7% of the votes, which the one person, I don't know if it's revealed yet, but the one person that did not vote for Ichiro, like what are we doing? How in the right mind is Ichiro not a unanimous Hall of Famer? It's the same thing with Derek Jeter. In what world is Derek Jeter not a unanimous Hall of Famer? How is Ichiro not a unanimous Hall of Famer? Looking at Ichiro's solely his MLB stats right here, 10-time All-Star, AL MVP in 2001, which was his rookie year, by the way. One Rookie of the Year, of course, 10-time Gold Glove Award winner, three-time Silver Slugger Award winner, a two-time AL batting champion, AL stolen base leader. He had an MLB career batting average of 311, and he has 3,089 career MLB hits. I don't remember the exact statistic, but it was like after Ichiro's third career at bat, his average never dropped to under 300 for his career. And that's absolutely insane. You know how like incredibly good you have to be? And on top of that, everything he's done in Japan, all of his stats, I don't have him on the doc, so I don't know him off the top of my head, but he's just undoubtedly a unanimous Hall of Famer. How he is not is it just boggles my mind. And I could say so much more and rant so much more, but in interest of time, I'm gonna have to keep moving on. But it just the whole voting process is just a joke because how and who in their right mind does not give Ichiro the Hall of Fame nod? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. But now let's go to CC Sabathia as a Yankee fan. We got CC Sabathia, 86.8% of the votes on his first ballot. He's a six-time All-Star, World Series champion, Cy Young Award winner, ALCS MVP, two-time MLB wins leader. He has a career ERA of 3.74. He is 18th all-time in strikeouts with 3,093, and that's third most all-time for a lefty. Obviously, you know, hands down was one of the most electric pitchers that I remember watching. Of course, I didn't really get to watch CC in '09. I was really young. I didn't get to watch those glory days, but growing up, when I did get to watch the Yankees, all I saw from CC was just a freaking stud, a beast. He is a guy that cared about his teammates, and he is a guy that truly cared about being a Yankee and what it meant to be a Yankee, to play in the city of New York, to wear the pinstripes. So glad, so honored for CC that he is a Hall of Famer. And he's got to be wearing the Yankee logo in Cooperstown, right? Like, there's no way he's not. I think that's what CC would want. Ichiro's going to be a Mariner. Billy Wagner's probably going to be an Astro. So CC, you don't think so? What would Billy Wagner
Mm.
be?
He could be an Astro, or he could be a Met.
He's not going to be a Met dog. Is this? I know Billy Wagner for being an Astro.
Okay. All right. That's how you know him. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just saying this that if that's how you know him, I know him a different way. But that's how
Mhm.
you know him.
Billy
All right, go ahead.
Billy Wagner pitched for 3 years for the Mets, dude.
Okay.
So
That's who I know him from. That's how I know him. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. He's an Astro. He'll probably be retired as an Astro. It wasn't meant to start any controversy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's
Go
let's
ahead.
let's let's talk Billy Wagner now. He's 82.5%. This was his 10th time on the ballot. For those that don't know, you're only allowed 10 times. So if he didn't make it this time, he was not going to make it. And I'm surprised it took this long, you know. Seven-time All-Star. He's eighth all-time in saves. I mean, that's pretty much it. You clearly love Billy Wagner. Why don't you talk about Billy Wagner, Zach? Met legend, apparently, right?
He's a great Met. Look, I really want to get into all the new candidates. I think obviously, like we said, all well deserving. Ichiro can't believe he didn't get 100% unanimous votes for the Hall of Fame. I'm happy. I'm happy that he got in. I'm happy that honestly CC went into the Hall of Fame as well. And then obviously Billy Wagner. It would have been an absolute shame if after all he did in his career they just snubbed him, and on the last time he could be on the ballot, he just falls off the face of the earth. I mean, like that would be if Billy Wagner wasn't in Cooperstown, if he didn't make it into the Hall of Fame, I feel like that would upset a lot of people. But nevertheless, he's there. He's there. Cece's there, and Ichiro's there. So all well deserving. The ballot for next year, I can't lie. Obviously, it's whoever's been on the list for the longest time at the moment. But there's also guys on that list. There's new candidates being thrown on that list. First years. And I gotta say, Matt, I don't know if you want to pull up that list or anything
Oh,
like that,
do it right now.
but that 2026 new candidate list, not looking good. Honestly, I don't think any of them, truthfully, unless you could, you know, tell me otherwise, I don't think any of them really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And
Let's see.
that might come as a shocker to most people. Maybe your favorite players on there. I don't think any of them are really deserving of the Hall of Fame induction. There's guys on there like Hunter Pence. There's guys like Cole Hamels.
You talking about like new people?
The new people, the new
Okay.
candidates, the
Are,
2026 candidates.
are these the new people? Oh, I think these are the new
Anything with
people.
like Hunter Pence on there and Cole Hamels, that's the new list. So just read out the new list real quick if you got it on you, because there are some names on there that do not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
New names: Ryan Braun, Shinsu Chu, Edwin Encarnacion, Gio Gonzalez, Alex Gordon, Cole Hamels, Matt Kemp, Howie Kendrick, Nick Markakis, Daniel Murphy, Mets legend, Hunter Pence, Rick Porcello, and Neil Walker.
And
Quite the yeah.
none of them deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Sorry to say so. Look, even I got some bias with Daniel Murphy. He's not a Hall of Famer. He didn't do enough in his career. I don't think he did enough in his career to deserve that induction and
Mm,
deserve that honor.
no, 100%. Yeah, no.
So all these new guys that are going on to the ballot for the first time next year, they don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And in fact, they could very much be all pretty, not all, but like maybe some of them, most of them, if not at that, voted off. Because if you don't get 5%, if you don't hit that over 5% threshold, then you're taken off the ballot and you can't go back on. You're done. Just
Mm,
like if you don't make it after 10 tries on the ballot, you're done too.
mm.
So I think next year, I think the main candidate that honestly is probably going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame next year, probably Carlos Beltran. I think that's first. He got 70% of the votes. I think he was a few percent short of getting inducted this year. Got like 70% of the
Yeah,
votes, so he's probably going to go in.
I mean, the thing with Beltron is I think people are holding the Astro thing against him, like the whole cheating thing.
Yeah, as they should.
So
But
I mean, he should be a Hall of Famer. You know, he's got some good stats. I think freaking I mean, literally, all Yankee bias aside, Alex Rodriguez should be a Hall of Famer. I know
yeah,
this the whole steroids thing, but like Barry Bonds should be a Hall of Famer. A-Rod should be a Hall of Famer. Roger Clemens should be a Hall of Famer. Like it's just A-Rod, you could argue one of the greatest players to ever play the game. If you look at his career stats, if you look at his career accolades, it's insane. He deserves to be a Hall of Famer, and it honestly sucks that he's probably not going to be because of the whole like drug use and everything like that. So that's my honest opinion of robbed people and everything. And we can talk about it more next year. I'm sure we're
yeah.
going to.
we're gonna mention this obviously next year, and when the new candidates go in, we'll let you know if they're worthy or not. But obviously, these three are 100% worthy. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next year. I know there's a certain special someone that just kind of barely made it past his first time on the ballot or so.
Was it
I don't think it was his first time on the ballot. But anyways, he just made
David
it
Wright?
past. Yep, David Wright. Um, he's got a special place in my heart. Do I think he's a Hall of Famer? Maybe borderline. It's gonna be tough. I don't know if he's gonna actually end up
I
making
don't
it
know, man.
to
The
Cooperstown.
the criteria for a Hall of Famer in baseball is really weird because you look at
Yeah,
some people's stats and you look at their like accolades and you think like how the hell is this guy a Hall of Famer? But I think one thing David Wright could have going for him is maybe just being one of the better players for the Mets like to ever play. Like
yeah.
Todd Helton is the best Rocky of all time and that surely helped his case as to why he was a Hall of Famer. So maybe David Wright
David
can
Wright
get.
was one of the best Mets of all time.
Mhm. If he won a ring, if they won in
If they won in
2015,
2015, then he would have a
he'd have
resume.
he'd have
But
such a compelling case. But now I don't know.
things didn't go our way. So
Mm.
that being said, there's also another thing that didn't go a certain team's way, and that is the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills lost to the Chiefs. Shocker to pretty much probably nobody because at this point, you just got to tip your cap because now the Chiefs are heading to their third Super Bowl in a row, third Super Bowl they could potentially win in a row. And if that happens, they are going to be the first team to do a three-peat in the NFL. And that, my friend, is crazy. Crazy. I can't believe we're in a world right now where Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs could be three times back to back to back Super Bowl champions. Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Uh, Mahomes is the GOAT. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He might get there. He might get there, but I'm not surprised. So I can believe that. But it's crazy to think.
Yeah, it is crazy to think, and we'll talk about their opponent in the next topic. But Matt, I wanna hear your voice real quick about the controversy. There's a lot of
Yeah.
controversy in this game, and there's certain things that need to be highlighted. I know I watched it. I don't know if you did. I'm pretty sure you did. You definitely
Uh,
watched it.
yeah, of course, man. That
Yeah.
was. I will be honest. I didn't really care too much about the Eagles game. Being a Cowboys fan, it was kind of a lose-lose situation, Commanders or Eagles. So I didn't really care for that. Chiefs Bills, I was locked. I was locked. So let's talk about it, right? Chiefs win 32-29. Going into it, I was not just wishful thinking, but I was really confident that the Bills would win the game. And it looked kind of like good at the start of the game, you know. But there was a lot of controversy and probably the reason why you clicked on this video, you know, a lot of people are going to start to think the NFL is like actually fixed. It's rigged. If you didn't think so before, maybe now you can look at this game and maybe put your tinfoil hats on and just sit down and just look at the evidence that's in front of us. One of the biggest things was Josh Allen in the first down scenario. We'll bam, bam, we'll put some pictures on your screen. But like, is that not a first down, Zach?
It was a first down. It looked clearly like he just maybe if it was just barely, but he clearly looked like he went over the line for the first down, and the refs just didn't give it to him,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know why. And like you said too, a lot of things were going right for the Bills. I mean, the Bills looked pretty good for the most part. It's not like it was a blowout. It was a close game the whole way through. And they honestly had a chance to win it. But again, I'll let you keep going with other controversial plays,
Yeah,
and we'll just keep talking about this, keep rattling it down.
yeah. So there was that. Then Xavier Worthy's catch. First off, it looked like the Bills had possession of it when he went and it touched the ground, but that's the other thing. The ball touched the ground. So they called it like, yeah, it's a catch. And that's just another mind-boggling thing. 31 other teams, that is not a catch. Like guaranteed. But it just so happens, you know, the Chiefs, they get it. And it counts. And, you know, it's a pivotal moment in the game. Could have been, you know, could have been one touchdown less, could have stopped it, could have changed the momentum. That was a little bit earlier in the game, though. But it's just so fishy. It really is fishy. So with those questionable calls, there were other moments, just anytime, flags, flags, flags. There were late flags. There were, premature flags. There were a lot of questionable calls throughout the game. Not a very well officiated game. If you had your doubts about the NFL being rigged or fixed in any way, any capacity, just look at this game as an example. I am not one to think the NFL is rigged. But Mahomes has a whistle. He for sure does. Like NBA players have a whistle, like Shea gets a whistle, Jalen Brunson gets a whistle, James Harden used to get a whistle, like Mahomes definitely gets that. Like he definitely gets that. So it definitely benefits the Chiefs. And then it just really begs the question, as you said, the Chiefs can three-peat. And it begs a question with Mahomes specifically, is he on pace to be better than Tom Brady? And there's an honest to God chance there are going to be people who straight up will tell you right now that Mahomes is better than Tom Brady. I want to if let me see Mahomes win this Super Bowl first. I'm confident he's gonna win it. I'm cheering for the Chiefs solely because I can't cheer for any Philly team. I am a Cowboys fan too, so they're in the division. I can't cheer for them. So I will be cheering for the Chiefs, and then I will come back to you on that question. Is Mahomes better than Brady, or is he gonna be on pace to be better than Brady? We'll get back to that. Maybe we'll get Aiden back, not the other one. Maybe we'll get
Yeah.
him back on the pod and
Yeah.
he can voice his opinion.
In terms of Mahomes and if he's better than Brady, I think regardless, even if he wins the Super Bowl, which is the first three-peat in NFL history,
Yeah.
um, I think it's still in question, obviously, because Brady was just such a talented quarterback, took charge of the field just like Mahomes does, but Tom Brady is a seven-time Super Bowl champion. No matter what you could say, no matter what you want to say about him and his legacy and what he left on the field before he retired. Um, Tom Brady is a seven-time Super Bowl champion. If Mahomes wins, I believe that is number four for him. Obviously, with the three-peat, which has a lot of weight. The three-peat will have a lot of weight, but I think a lot of things have to come into place for him to be considered better than Brady. Um, and obviously this is one of them, but obviously at least maybe if he tied Brady in the amount of Super Bowl rings, if he tied Brady in the Super Bowl rings and he had the three-peat, you got to give it to Mahomes. But I think Super Bowls for Kansas City could be a little rough upcoming, and that's not because the talent on their roster is not there. Talent's there. It's just they're going to be losing a key guy now. Does one key guy obviously mean that they're not going to be Super Bowl contenders for years to come? No, because they lost Tyreek Hill and they just added like seven different other weapons on their wide receiver line right there. But as far as tight ends, Travis Kelsey could be done soon. Could retire if they win this year. He could retire as soon as this year, as soon as after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I
He could
know.
have done everything he wanted to do and retired. He's like 35 now,
Yeah.
35, 36.
To speak on Aiden's behalf, he told me he thinks if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl that Kelsey's going to retire and propose to Taylor Swift on the field. I could totally see it.
I
And
can see that happening too.
it's just such a scripted thing, man.
And you look, no, you know what? Like Travis Kelsey is that dude for Mahomes. Him and his connection with Mahomes is very special.
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey is also getting up there in age, and he even said it himself multiple times on his podcast, that he doesn't know how much more he's gonna go. Truthfully, Mahomes has got a while to go. He's only 29 years old. He's got at least like 6+ years around there. So we'll see. We'll see how he does in the future without Travis. But like, I think a lot of things have to happen in order for um football fans to consider Mahomes better than Brady. This would be a really big step though, and it would bring him a lot closer to, what Brady's done throughout the course of his career. But, we're just gonna in New Orleans. New Orleans is the place to be. I can't wait to watch the Super Bowl. I know I'm gonna be tuned in. I think everybody's gonna be tuned in. It's gonna be very exciting, and it's a first trip for someone on the other team. And that's what we're going to get into right now, which is the other half of the championship games, which is the Commanders versus the Eagles. The Eagles honestly steamrolled them, and it was close in the beginning, but then they just pulled away. Saquon is unstoppable. He's too nasty. I mean, the Eagles were good when they went to the Super Bowl for the first time against the Chiefs, but dude, they didn't have Saquon Barkley. That was not their running back. So now they're entering the Super Bowl with a whole different beast. This guy, I've never seen someone consistently run for 100 plus yards in game after game after game when it matters in the playoffs, game after game, scoring touchdowns at will. He may have not scored a touchdown in the first game of the Eagles playoffs, but he scored two in the next and three against the Commanders. How do you stop him? Nobody knows because once he gets a little bit of daylight, he's gone. He's out of there. He's scoring a touchdown. And he's had multiple like 60 plus yard runs. It's unbelievable how good of a running back he is. And I think if the Eagles upset the Chiefs and they took away their three-peat and also Saquon gets his first win, that is the biggest first Super Bowl win. That is the biggest FU to the Giants because the Giants had the biggest opportunity. They see how much of a difference Saquon means to the Eagles. It took Saquon and the Eagles and that constructed team the way it is now to make it to the Super Bowl. Saquon's a difference maker. And maybe the Giants may have made it to the playoffs, but they never were gonna make it anything further than that. Maybe they could have. Maybe Malik Neighbors and Saquon, if they were still on the same team, maybe that would have been a dynamic duo. Maybe the Giants would be looking a lot different right now.
Oh,
But
uh-huh.
there's a lot of ifs that involve Saquon and the Giants and stuff like that. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Now he's on the Eagles, and to beat the Commanders 55-23 was a little bit insane. Matt, I don't know. Did you think that the Eagles were going to win? I know you said you didn't really care too much about this game because obviously it was a lose-lose because they're both in your division. But I know who I wanted to win, and that was not the Eagles. I wanted the Commanders to win. Jaden Daniels had an incredible story and wouldn't have been cool for a rookie quarterback to take his team to the Super Bowl in his first year. The story was there, just didn't happen.
Mhm.
But I'm
Yeah.
curious to your thoughts.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt in my mind the Eagles were winning that game. There's no doubt in my mind. As cool as Jane Daniels is, as cool a story of the Commanders is with Dan Quinn, there was no doubt in my mind that the Eagles were winning that game. 55-23, absolutely insane. I think the Eagles are well equipped sorry. I think the Eagles are now more well equipped to take down the Chiefs as opposed to last time. I mean, now you have Saquon, who is a freaking monster, right? You got Jalen Hurts doing his thing, putting up 55 against the Commanders. I mean, yeah, okay, it's the Commanders. I don't think anyone predicted them to be where they were, to have this incredible season with Jaden Daniels, who, by the way, is going to have such a bright future in this league. He's such a fun watch. And of course, no one has it worse than me. He's in my division. He will own the Cowboys for the next 30 years. That's just how it works. I get to watch Dak Prescott and the Commanders fans have a 24-year-old quarterback who's arguably better than him now. But anyway, the Eagles are going to be a beast. They're going to be a beast, especially with Saquon. First play of the game for the Commanders game for the Eagles. Legitimately, they handed it off to Saquon, and this guy ran it all the way to the end zone. Absolutely insane. It took the Commanders like 19 different plays to score a freaking field goal at the start of the game. It took them 19, and the Eagles got a touchdown with Saquon the very first play. So it's just absolutely insane. Question is, can the Chiefs hold Saquon? I don't know, but I know the refs can. The refs surely can. The Chiefs and the refs. It's going to be a 2v1. That's just how it's going to be. and I wouldn't be surprised to see some bogus calls. I still do think that the Chiefs will prevail. I won't go too much into the Super Bowl because that'll be our next pod. I think we might honestly just dedicate the whole pod to Super Bowl. I think it's what we did last time, right?
It's exactly what we did. And you know
Yeah.
what?
Unless like a Bregman or Alonzo sign, we'll sprinkle it in, but the majority of the pod will be Super Bowl.
We'll make our predictions for the Super Bowl in the next pod.
Yeah.
But as of right now, the Super Bowl stage has been set. It is Chiefs versus Eagles,
Rematch.
and it is going to be a good game, hopefully. I mean, the Bills game against the Chiefs was really good, so I'm assuming this one's going to be a lot closer than obviously Commanders and Eagles. As for the Commanders too, they're going to have a bright future. They already have a bright future. They're going to add some weapons probably in this offseason. Because obviously they want to make it back to where they were this year. Jaden Daniels, what a stud, what a season, what a future he has given
Yeah.
to the Commanders organization. An organization that was like pretty much dead a few years ago. Um, has just been completely revitalized with the addition of one solid QB, and that is honestly what the Giants need. But again, topic for another day. The Commanders, just keep your heads up because you guys had a great year. There's nothing to be disappointed about. Nobody expected you to make it this far. Nobody. From from the kick, the doinked field goal against the Bucks to absolutely having a fist fight with the Lions and coming out on top, who were arguably the best, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL this year. You came out on top, and you know you fought with the Eagles for as long as you could, and then just say honestly, Saquon took over. Unbelievable,
It's
but
such a weapon, such an ad for the Eagles, man.
you know what too? Like it honestly, it just means so much to have that kind of guy because they've stated to the Eagles. Nick Sirianni was like, "Look, if we're gonna, we don't care what stats are. If you want to pass the ball, we'll pass the ball. But if we could win the game running, rushing almost every play, we're gonna do that. Whatever way we can win the game, we can win the game. That's the message he kind of relayed to the media. But they just got so many weapons. Jalen Hurts could rush the ball. Saquon could rush the hell out of the ball. And then they got options like Goddard and AJ Brown and Smith and all those guys. And it's just they have a really, really good team. So I think this is a better matchup this time around than from the previous time the Eagles and the Chiefs met each other in the Super Bowl. It's a better matchup now, but we'll see. We'll make our predictions next week. I don't know, Matt, if you want to add anything before I wrap this up.
Uh, no.
All right.
I think I'm
All
good.
right.
I think I'm good. I think I'm good, man. Yeah.
All right. We will catch you guys in the next episode. Keep in touch with all of our socials. Obviously, clips from the pod will be all there. And again, we appreciate you guys for all the support, and we will catch you guys in the next one, in episode 45.